Welcome to Monkey See,
Monkey Review,
where we are going to hit up another episode of Star Wars Visions. This time we're going to be covering The Village Bride.
Yeah. So, pretty good episode.
I liked
overall. Had a slower tone to it for the most part, but very anime. I mean, just a classic anime story.
Very much so. Very strong anime vibes, style. I really enjoyed it. When I first watched it, weeks ago now, It was like, okay, this is interesting. It was one of those that I didn't love at first, but I had to go back and watch a couple of times. Like, okay, I'm picking up on a lot more things now, because with these, like, you have no sense of like time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, where is this at after Clone Wars?
Yep.
So really good episode. Really liked the main characters. We get a little bit more of the Star Wars lore as far as other planets having different names and different things for the Force.
Yep.
In this planet, they call it the Magina,
Mm-hmm.
or Magina, something like
that.
Magina. So it was really cool to see that interact, and it was also seemed very much like the whole planet as a whole was a very Force rich and Force almost powered.
Yeah, I mean, they were very connected with the planet, like
Yeah.
everyone was throughout the entire story.
Yeah, we know in regular canon and regular lore, the Force flows through all living things, and they have definitely cultivated a really close connection with nature.
Yeah, with some planets, like in Dagobah,
Yes.
was supposed to be a stronger sense to this Force than other planets.
Mm-hmm.
So we have those hot zones, I guess you would say,
Yeah.
throughout the galaxy.
Yeah. Definitely had that 5G planet,
Yep, 5G.
where you're definitely getting much better connection and service to the Force.
Yep.
But it was a good episode. So in this episode, what we do is we find a gentleman who's on a planet. He is wearing a bucket, pretty much, helmet.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, his style.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting character. And, of course, we have what you can tell almost immediately is a Padawan, because she still has her Padawan braid.
Yep.
She's wearing a mask. And so that's like, okay, this is interesting. I like the style, I like the colors. The color palette was really good in this episode.
Uh-huh.
And then we see two people in the back, and there's a young man carrying pretty much a chair on his back.
Yep.
And in that chair, as a female, you learn that this is his bride, and they are actually going to complete their marriage ceremony.
Yep.
So they travel to the top of this mountain and place their hands on a rock. And in that moment, like the planet being so strong in the Force, it actually gives you a clear vision of memories from the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And the Padawan picks up on it, like, oh, they're using the Force.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very cool. Very, very cool. Move forward, they go, and the planet's been ravaged. We find out that the Separatists actually came there during the Clone Wars, ravaged a lot of the planet, and we actually see like mountains and valleys crumbling during that Force vision.
Yep.
They go to a marriage supper. The whole village is there. They invite the old man at the beginning wearing the bucket helmet. I really wish I had his name. And then they brought in and he, of course, brought the Padawan with him. We find out he's not Force sensitive.
No.
Now, of course, the Padawan is, but she has been in hiding because she survived Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
Village is going to be under attack the next day. And the people who are coming to attack them told them, we're coming to take your chieftain, and you will, you're going to essentially work for us. And they were like, we'll trade you the bride, the village bride.
Which was his daughter.
Which was, I think it was his granddaughter.
Granddaughter, yeah.
It was his granddaughter.
So she chose to go with them of her own free will instead of her grandfather. And selfless.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Very sacrificial.
Yep. And I guess she had the younger sister, right?
She had a younger sister.
Yeah, who was not for it. She wanted to fight. Said we need to stand up for ourselves because, Separatists, end of Order 66, Separatists shut down. Pirates came in, basically, reactivated the droids, reprogrammed, and then now they're controlling everything.
Yep. So they built their own army overnight by reprogramming all these droids to operate under their will.
Yep, pretty much.
Pretty cool. I like it. I wonder how many other planets that happened on in Star Wars, because there were so many other planets that were under siege.
Yeah.
But this does not look like one that was actually being fought over between the Republic.
It was just a separatist planet.
It was just a separatist coming in and taking this planet. So that was interesting because we didn't get to see a lot of that in the series. No. Everything in Clone Wars and in the movies, there was always the separatists battling. Conflict. Yes. Yeah. So this was cool to see that they had their own little planets as they were, kind of mining on without bringing in the Jedi.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we find out that the Padawan Jedi Master had been killed, and the gentleman she's with now is just like, you're still wearing the mask and you're still wearing the braid. Like, how long are you going to kind of let this go on? Mm-hmm. She has a little moment after the dinner. She meets the bride in the woods and they're talking. And, they're actually talking about the Force. Apparently, the people who are born on that planet have connections to the Force automatically, some to greater extent than others. We find out she's one of the stronger people. And the Padawan sits there and says, you have connection to the Magina. And she's just like, well, you do too, obviously, because you're over here levitating stones, chick.
Yep.
So, yeah. The sister, the younger sister, and her friends decide they're going to fight. The next day they get up. The pirates come in and they're like, okay, so give us the chieftain. And they were like, well, we've decided we'll give you her instead of the chieftain. He's just like, I like this deal. I'm cool with this. Like, y'all are still going to be my servants. Y'all are still going to work for me. But
she's going to be my hostage.
She will be my hostage.
Yep.
Really cool. Okay. Then we find out the little sister has been caught. She had a thermal detonator. And out of the bushes comes the paddle droids pushing the little sister, throws her to the ground. The boss over the pirates comes up and is like, we don't take this off no one. We're just going to go ahead and put her down.
Oh, I swear it won't happen again. No, I'm going to set an example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's about to shoot, has the gun or blaster pointed at her, and they're just like, no, don't do this. Boom. Fires the trigger. And then you hear, like, everybody go out of nowhere, like the Padawan is there.
Holding up the bolt.
Yep. She has cut off her braid. She is no longer a Padawan. She has released the mask. She is no longer in hiding. And she just like holds the blaster bolt in place. Such a epic moment.
Yep.
We saw it we've seen it happen now in the movies. We've seen it happen in a couple of these other episodes of Visions. But this, I don't know, this one was like really dramatic and powerful.
I mean, it's point blank range, and she caught it.
Yeah,
right there at that point.
Yeah,
and then throws it back at him. Mm-hmm. So that was really cool.
Not killing him, just knocking him to his, off his feet.
Yep.
Then the droids start attacking the village, and you find the old man with the bucket on his head. His helmet is he's actually up on a ridge, snipering them off.
Yep.
As they start going towards the villagers and things like that. And he's just taking them out one by one. Then they're like, oh, he's up there. Fire. He takes the helmet, throws it towards them. It lands in front of their shuttle. And then actually it has some propulsion to it and shoots into their shuttle and explodes. So he uses his bucket as, his helmet.
It's a rocket.
Basically.
It's a warhead. And then blows up their ship, which is the same style as the Millennium Falcon, right?
No, actually, it is a really, really close resemblance to a Millennium Falcon style of ship, but it was the model of Dash Rendar from the Empire, or Shadows of the Empire story.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was one of the stories that takes place between episodes 5 and 6, and he actually is one of the people who help the pilot of that ship's named Dash Rendar in the comic books and in the novels. Dash Rendar goes and helps save Han. He helps get the Rebel Alliance, to the point where they can attack the second Death Star. But it's very reminiscent of that ship.
Gotcha.
So I'll show you some pictures later. It's really close. It's cool.
Well, they blow up the ship.
Yep.
Which is the main headquarters for the battle droids.
It's the communication hub.
Yep. So battle droids all shut down. There's only a few pirates actually left.
Right.
At that point. And then he takes the bride.
Yeah, he takes the bride hostage.
Yep.
Head pirate just grabs her by the neck, has the blaster to her head, and sits there and says, we're still going to get what we want.
Yep.
That's when her Padawan takes, like, she gets the stance, reaches back, grabs her lightsaber, and her boots transform. Like, she's got some high heel stiletto style boots going on, and they transform. I'm assuming to give her a better range of motion.
That or they're rockets or something?
Yeah, a lot of people have said there and said, do they have some kind of rocket propulsion? But you don't see them actually fire or anything like that. So I'm just curious.
I don't know. That was interesting, because they kind of like emphasized on that, like changing, transforming almost if they're about to activate, and throws her forward.
Yes.
I don't know if that somehow
between that and the Force
directed the Force in that specific
maybe
shoe or something. I don't know. It was very interesting.
Yeah, I would really like for them to give a little more breakdown on like the technology for that.
Well, I mean, most of anime,
it don't have to make sense as long as it's pretty.
Yeah, and very samurai-ish style right there in that last little moment where she darts forward, one swipe, and then the pirate's dead.
Yes. There you go, pretty much how it ends.
Yeah.
Next thing we see is like the villagers coming together, and then you see the Padawan, who is now a Jedi, no longer wearing her mask, ready to embrace, trying to bring light back to the galaxy and taking off in her starfighter.
Yep.
That was it. Like it was a really close. I mean, a little clean cut story.
Yep.
It wasn't overly dramatic, wasn't complicated like some of the stories that we've seen. But I really liked it.
It was good. It kind of reminded me of like a Princess Mononoke or something.
Yeah.
Like as far as like the opening scenes where like the traveling and things like that.
Yeah.
Just classic anime.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
what it
actually
boils down to.
It was produced by Kinema Citrus, which is also a company that's done several movies and shows. One of the ones that was most notable to me was Dot Hack.
Mm-hmm.
Dot Hack has had several different like chapters of it come out. It's really we've loved it. It was definitely one of the ones you could see on Toonami back in the early 2000s, late 90s. Great series, very interesting concept, very SAO in some ways, Sword Art Online. But it was beautiful. I really liked it. The color palette wasn't, I don't know, it was definitely that water-based pastel, striking images, beautiful.
It was good.
I really enjoyed it. I really think a lot of people would like it if they sat down. Like, there's also some directors' comments on the extras on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. Like, you can find all these different behind the scenes and all these other stories and ideas. So it was really cool. I would probably give it a 3.8. It wasn't amazing, like over the top, but it was really pretty, really good story. I liked the characters, so.
I'd probably go like 3.6.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It wasn't my favorite out of the whole set.
Had its slow moment.
It did, but it was still good, though. I mean, just good storytelling throughout the thing. Overall, 3.6 probably.
So, all right. So that's going to be this for this week on Monkey See.
Manga Review.
So do us a favor. Hit that like button.
Subscribe.
And leave some comments. Tell us your favorite parts about this episode. If there's something we missed, we want to talk about it. Yep. All right. We love you guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.